Slide, Portfolio Overview, Small Business Research SBIR/STTR Program, Paek Lee, PhD, Program Director, National Eye Institute, NIH, Presentation to the National Advisory Eye Council, June 17, 2022.
So thank you for the opportunity to present a portfolio overview of the NEI Small Business Research Program, which means SBIRs and STTR. I'm Paek Lee, an NEI Program Officer managing this program.
Slide, Small Business Research Program. What is it?
So my presentation will hopefully give you a clear picture of the program with these 4 topics. I will start with the background of this program in terms of how it got launched and what key objectives we are pursuing under this program. Then hopefully I will offer you a snapshot of the program structure, then go over some examples of key programmatic area and a couple of tasks we can work on for the future.
Slide, Small Business Research Program. What is it?
So what is the Small Business Research Program? It is a congressionally mandated program, commonly called as America's Seed Fund. The Small Business Innovation Research, or SBIR, was established in 1982, and Small Business Technology Transfer, or STTR, in 1992, modeled after a successful SBIR component. These are designed to provide early-stage, non-dilutive capital to support U.S. companies for their private sector R&D efforts. We, NEI, prioritize projects that drive translational innovation.
Bench to bedside.
Even if in some cases they are high risk. This means that we focus on supporting translation of valuable technology so that it can be delivered to the hands of the target end users, including clinicians, researchers, and patients, and help in the effort to improve health of U.S. public and save lives. In the case of NEI, the goal is to save sight from vision debilitating conditions and to improve quality of life of the blind and visually impaired.
Slide, SBIR and STTR.
So SBIR and STTR are very similar in many aspects, but do have some distinctive aspects as well. And they are listed on this slide. SBIR
R43, R44
is simply designed for projects that are led by small business companies or small business concerns that have fewer than 500 employees and majority owned by U.S. citizens or permanent residents. And 3.2% of NEI budget annually, or approximately 23 million, is a mandate set aside for SBIR activities. STTR
R41, R42
on the other hand, requires a partnership between an eligible SBC and a U.S. research or nonprofit institution.
Projects with commercialization potential.
And 0.45% of NEI budget, or approximately $3 million, is the set aside for STTR activities.
Slide, SBIR and STTR, 3-phase program.
Both SBIR and STTR have 3 phases. These phases are different and independent from the clinical trial phases 1, 2, and 3. This can be confusing, and I mentioned this to clarify the confusion. Following the submission of a proposal, NEI makes a grant award based on small business qualification, degree of innovation, technical merit, and future market potential. Small business that receives awards then begin a 3-phase program. As you can see on this slide, the phase 1
Discovery, R41, R43
is the feasibility and proof of concept testing phase. It normally lasts 6 to 12 months, and the current budget cap we have is $275,000 per project. Phase 2
Development, R42, R44
awards may normally last 2 years and expand upon the phase 1 result, showing that they have met most of the phase 1 milestones. During this time, a full-blown R&D work should be performed, and the budget can go up to $1.8 million. Phase 3
Commercialization.
is commonly described as a valley of death because of the lengthy process and sometimes painful. During this period, phase 2 innovation moves from the lab into the marketplace. Unfortunately, no SBL funds from NIH are allowed to support this phase. The small business must find funding in the private sector or secure it from their non-SBIR federal agency funds that can support the continued development effort. With the promising data they generated through phases 1 and 2, hopefully they will be able to attract other investment partners.
Slide. Technical and Business Assistance, TABA.
Once a company receives an NEI SBIR or STTR award, they can get additional benefits that are collectively named as TABA, or a Technical and Business Assistant. This is intended to help small businesses to identify and address their most pressing product development needs. TABA can assist a small business in the area such as market research, intellectual property protection, regulatory strategy, and manufacturing plans. There are a few different routes one can take to get TABA assistance. One easy way is just to include a TABA budget and a right justification in their application. Or if that didn't happen, then they can submit an admin supplement following the NOT, that is NOT OD 21062. The budget cap we have are $6,500 per year for a phase 1 and $50,000 per award for a phase 2 project. Alternatively, one can take advantage of NIH centralized TABA services instead. For phase 1 awardees, one can request a needs assessment report through the NIH contracted consulting company, which is RTI Innovation Advisors. For phase 2 awardees, a bit more specific and specialized consulting services can be provided by one of the several contracted companies NIH have. The awardees can also get consults from NIH Entrepreneur in Residence or EIR. In addition to these TABA assistance, NIH has additional entrepreneurial R&D training such as I-Core at NIH for phase 1 grantees, C3I by NIBIB, and coaching in case the awardees participate in company showcases at an investor conference that NIH support.
Slide. SBIR/STTR Program Portfolio.
The composition of this program can be dissected in different ways, one of which is just to align it with the current extramural programmatic areas. This slide has two separate data sets. The one in black are accumulative data from year 2012 to present.
2022.
The other is light blue, are data from year 2020. Their corresponding pie charts are on the right side for you to look at and compare. So just to be brief, over the previous 10-year period, awards fall in the retinal areas made up about 52%, followed by cornea, ocular surface at 13%, glaucoma 13% as well, followed by low vision, SAVP, and lens in that order at 9%, 8%, and 5% respectively. However, if we look at the data from just last 2-3 years, the cornea and anterior eye projects have grown to close to 1/3 of the program. As you can see, the percentage there is 34%.
Retina, 36%.
And glaucoma topics have also grown to 18%.
Lens, 3%. SAVP, 4%. And low vision, 4%.
Because of the small sample size and a short period of time we looked at, it is difficult to predict if the trend will continue or pinpoint what exactly the trends mean at this point in time, but at least we can see some growths and some changes in different areas. And I have to say that we always look for high quality projects, regardless of their research areas, but particularly for the low vision, SABP, and lens areas. The success rates of these areas over the years have been very similar, ranging from 16 to 20%, with the overall average success rate at 90%. Once phase one was awarded, and then the transition from phase one to phase two success rate is about 23%.
Slide SBIR/STTR Program Portfolio, 2012 through 2022. Pie chart of programs shown.
So if you compare the drug versus device areas in the program, there have been more or less even distribution with therapeutics at around 45% and devices 55%. Within therapeutics, small molecule-based ones covers 23% and biologics 22%. Within devices, imaging and diagnostics at around 21%, and the other two sub-areas, digital, low vision, and telehealth technology, and surgical implant and other device technology make up 15 and 19% respectively. Our program has been slightly more popular for device projects in the last 10 years.
Slide SBIR/STTR Program Portfolio. Diagram shows 7 cross-cutting areas, from genes to disease mechanisms, biology and neuroscience of vision, immune system and eye health, regenerative medicine, data science, individual quality of life, and public health and disparities research, which intersect with 6 programs: retinal diseases, corneal diseases, lens and cataract, glaucoma and optic neuropathies, strabismus, amblyopia and visual processing, and low vision and blindness rehabilitation.
Because of this program's cross-cutting nature, the projects are relevant to all NEI strategic plan areas of emphasis. As I said before, the primary goal of the program is to have the technology available to the end users. This translation-focused program includes 4 key strategic areas of interest divided based on the product modality and the project development stage. So they are preclinical development and validation of therapeutics or drugs, clinical and rehabilitation tools, diagnostics and research tools, and assistive technology and telehealth applications. In the next 4 slides, I will present an example for each of these areas just to give you an idea about what types of projects we currently support. But these are just examples.
Slide Therapeutics in preclinical stage.
So the first example is a therapeutic projects in a preclinical testing stage. It is an aptamer technology by Aptitude Medical System. Aptamers are nucleic-based affinity molecules. This company uses a patented technology called particle display to select the candidate molecules from oligonucleotide libraries. The aptamers will bind to the target proteins, which means that these aptamers can be an alternative to monoclonal antibody-based drugs. These have a favorable safety profile, and due to their high hydrophilicity, these can be packaged into high loads and can be combined with sustained release technologies. Aptitude currently has several high affinity aptamers, including ones specific for VEGF, angiotensin II, and SDF1. Different combinations of these aptamers are being tested for diabetic macular edema, neovascular AMD, and geographic atrophy under our SBIR program. Potential impact we can leverage out of this type of approach include more effective and less frequent treatments and less side effects.
Slide Clinical treatment tools.
The next example is for a clinical and research tool area. The company is Lumithera that is carrying out clinical trials using photobiomodulation or PBM for currently 2 indications, dry AMD, and diabetic macular edema. PBM is done through delivering light at specific wavelength into the retina with the goal of slowing down or protecting retina from pathological degenerative processes. As you can see from the picture,
two medical professionals administering photobiomodulation treatment to a patient.
A patient can put their head resting on the chin rest and going through procedures similar to eye exam or eye imaging procedures, and have the light shine on their eyes up to 90 seconds. It has demonstrated promising results in regression of drusense and improved the visual functions, including visual acuity and contrast sensitivity.
Ongoing U.S. clinical trials for dry AMD and diabetic retinopathy.
It's been approved for clinical use in European Union,
CE mark,
and commercialized in other countries.
As Valeda light delivery system.
This is potentially less invasive than other treatment options, and if clears the FDA regulatory requirements, then has great promise for saving sites and improving quality of life of some of these patients.
Slide, ophthalmic imaging and diagnostics.
Our SBIR program has had some very exciting prior success in supporting innovative imaging product companies such as Biopticians. And the current innovation in this area we have are geared toward making
optical coherence tomography,
OCT instruments, fast in speed, smaller in footprints, and wide in field of view. So we have several examples listed here.
Ultra-high speed to reduce the image capture time and OCTA, handheld OCT for infants, young children, and older patients, high-resolution corneal imaging, and wide FOV hardware and software strategies.
For the interest of time, I'll skip those. And we are working on devices that can measure high-resolution biomarkers as well. Those two examples are visible light OCT and laser spectral contrast imaging for ocular blood flow. So we also have adaptive optic-based devices working on AOSLO, AOCT, and other technology to better visualize deep layer of the retinal neurons and vasculatures. The impact of these type of technologies are new disease biomarkers, better diagnosis, and lowering the instrument prices and healthcare costs.
Slide, AI/ML-based disease screening.
Last example is about AI and ML-based disease screening. The prime example that we have is FDA-approved IR AI system for DR screening.
EYENUK.
Basically, retinal images will be analyzed by a secure AI system in the cloud, and a high sensitivity, high specificity report will be generated for referral to a specialist. Another example is from Vision Quest Biomedical. Basically, they are developing camera agnostic DR screening tools, iStars,
and image quality analyzer. And
this has been validated and developed in countries and underserved communities. Third example is from iHealth Screen. This is an ML-based AMD screening and late AMD predicting tool called iPredict AMD.
Ongoing prospective trials with promising results.
The potential impact that we can envision include early and consistent diagnosis and intervention, simplified clinical workflow, and saving of healthcare costs.
Slide, looking to the future.
So with these innovative highlights, looking to the future, I would like to point out two critical needs we have. You might have heard about NIH Brain Initiative. This initiative is a NIH program that is launched in year 2014 with the goal of developing the imaging and functional tools to revolutionize our understanding of the human brain. This program has SBIR and STTR components as well, but unlike our academic programs, activities have been very limited in the SBIR and STTR side for NEI. So I encourage interested people to go look at this notice, NOT MH 21-125.
Notice of Special Interest, NOSI, translation of brain initiative technologies to the marketplace.
Anyone who is interested could submit SBIR, STTR grant applications. The priority areas include technology useful for cell type identification, neural circuit diagrams and monitoring neural activities, behavioral intervention tools that change neural circuit dynamics, theory and data analysis, and integrated approach combining any of these areas. Last but not the least, we need a healthy influx of new entrepreneurial R&D workforce.
PA-21-345 Diversity Supplement.
Young or seasoned investigators who are new to this research field, as long as you have an innovative idea or a technology that has a translational and commercial values, all are welcome. We have ongoing discussion with other NIHICs to come up with ways to bring in more people into this arena as well.
Slide. Thank you.
So with that, hopefully I was able to, with a limited of time, present to you some promising and exciting aspects of this program. I thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to take questions and comments.
Logo for NIH, National Eye Institute. Research today, vision tomorrow.